Thanks for everyone for joining us. Today we are going to be talking about our Joeys and how to order them on the on our portal and some of the new options that we have, and we'll also let you know some of the new things that we are working on. So let's begin. So Joeys, what are Joeys? So Joeys are our precast. We used to call them precast orthotics. There's many names you could use for it: prefab, precast, semi-customized. So it's arranged that we started in the very early beginning, and our design initially was a Joey original. So as a podiatrist, I wanted to have an orthotic that I could get some rear foot control for kids that they could wear for a longer period of time that would give them some growth in the device. So even if the device got slightly smaller, it did not impact on the function, so it'd still be useful, so they get a little bit more longevity out of it. As a podiatrist 25 years ago at uni, 28 years ago at uni now, we were using Gerber triplanar wedges. And it was a rubber wedge that would stick under the tentaculum tali, and you'd glue it into the kid's shoe, and it was a great orthotic device, for a better word, that you would just stick in the kid's shoe. But however, you know, the issue with that I always had is that it could not be changed from shoe to shoe. And also it would fall out with sand and kids and so forth. You know, when the kids grew out, the parents had to come back and reglue it again in a different shoe and so forth. So I wanted to create an orthotic that would give the same support. So rear foot correction, tentaculum tali, not much arch support, that would just support the rear foot for a child. And I designed an orthotic that was similar in function. So that was the Joey original. And with that, we started, I wanted to get rear foot correction. I wanted to not to impact first ray function and not to put too much pressure in the arch. So it was an arch supported device. And the reason why I called it Joey was more of a joke is that it was back in the days when Tamagotchi was around, and it was just an idea I had just mucking around with some friends that, you know, we wanted to create a fad going backwards to Japan. So they saturated Australia with Tamagotchis. And if you don't know what a Tamagotchi is, Google it, if you're too young to remember those. So we wanted to create this little product called Joey, put little kangaroos on it and go to the Japanese market with it. Never came off, we never got there, but nonetheless, it was a product for kids. So, and the name stuck as well. So what I'll do is I'll share the screen with you now. So there's your Joey original. It is a wedge style device. The reason why we did a wedge style device because we wanted predominantly rear foot correction. So most of the pressure is through the tentaculum tali, a little bit into the tailnavicular joint. It is corrected at 13 degrees. It has a first ray function to really make sure that we don't jam up the first ray function. It also has a cuboid notch and a small plantar feet thread grind. If we're to show you how the foot looks, so as you can see on the foot, it puts the pressure right up on the rear foot into the tentaculum tali, slightly into the tailnavicular joint, and then just goes straight down to the first MTPJ. That's giving you a great rear foot controlling device. And one of the main reasons why we made it into a wedge device is that there was no impact from the child growing out of a heel cup. So the device could still be a fair bit shorter and maybe even smaller, but still be very functional, because if it's sitting at the back of the shoe, that control point would not move much. Even though the device would be shorter in the forefoot, the child will actually get a little bit more growth out of it and get a little bit more value out of the device. So that was a Joey original. Then podiatrists wanted a device that was of similar quality, but they wanted a bit more supportive device, and we came up with a Joey support. So what a Joey support is we'll show you, and what are we going? Joey support. No, that's a Joey support. So Joey support became a 4-degree concave wedge with our mid-arch fill technique. So again, if I show you the cast, so that's a Joey support. So tailnavicular correction. So let's just change that. Our mid-arch fill technique. So tailnavicular correction, good calc inclination angle, and pretty much straight down to the first MTPJ. And that was just a general supportive orthotic, and being hence the name Joey support. Then what we found over the years is that podiatrists wanted us to increase the arch height on the device, and they kept on asking for that by just us asking for D fillers or arch pads to increase the arch height on the orthotic. So we, in the end, we were sick of doing pads. So we came up with a Joey Support Plus, which was the same device. However, it was just increased in the arch height by 3 millimeters on the average foot. So a minimum arch fill, as we would call it now. So a Joey Support Plus is a 4-degree concave wedge with a slightly higher arch to give you a little bit more contour on a higher arched foot. The next device that was developed later on was a Joey inverted. So what we found is that podiatrists were wanting a device that was kind of like a Joey original, but for a more flatter foot. So the Joey original was designed for general kids' foot that, bit of overpronation, and they required a moderate amount of support. And podiatrists wanted something that gave us a lot more rear foot correction for a much flatter foot. And we came up with a Joey inverted, so an inverted arch fill technique. So the high point is much more proximal, so directly under the systentecton talo. As you can see from there, it does not go up into the arch whatsoever or into the talonnavicular joint. It pretty much remains flat and then tapers down to the first MTPJ. And it's done at 20 degrees, so a much more aggressive device. So this would be considered a fairly aggressive rear foot corrective device, especially being a wedge style device. Again, with being a wedge style device, it allowed for a bit more growth in the shoe. Problems such as sliding off, well, if someone's sliding off, it's clearly the wrong device for the patient. So the only other thing that the Joey inverted had, we've inbuilt a medial flare into it. Again, just to suit that kind of a foot which it was designed for, which was a very flat foot. And generally with those foot, you would get that medial bulging, which the medial flare would come in really handy with. Again, just like the Joey original, you would have a first tray accommodation. So a more hypermobile foot, a flatter foot, is what the Joey inverted would be used for. One of the latest ones we've developed is a Joey Support Plus lateral. So this is more of a lateral wedging device, okay? The arch height on this is the same as a Joey Support Plus, so slightly higher arched foot. It's got 0 degree rear foot correction, but does have a rear foot wedge on it and a higher lateral heel cup on the lateral side to give you a little bit more lateral support. This is more for your peroneal tendinitis or peroneal dysfunction foot, where you need a little bit more lateral wedging. As far as we know, it's the only device of its kind that's available as a prefab or semi-customized device on the market. So it's been a very popular device since we've designed it about 1.5 years ago. And again, if you want that little bit more lateral support, it has a higher lateral, it's a concave wedge, higher lateral heel cup, plantar feet tray grind. And if I show you the design itself, as you can see, there's a fair bit of a wedging angle on the rear foot as well. So you're getting probably somewhere around 5-6 degrees of rear foot valgus support on that device. One of the newer devices that we developed was a Joey plantar heel plane. So this was the first Joey that we designed with a heel cup. Now, the reason why we've never had heel cups on our Joey devices is because the heel cup width is probably one of the biggest differential in foot size. And as you know, even from prescribing custom-made devices, if you're ever going to have a problem with any fit, it's usually going to be around the heel cup. And so we decided to go for a concave wedge or a wedge design in pretty much all of our other devices, simply because to eliminate any problems with heel pinching. And it would just mean that that device could be used across a much wider range of feet. And so, but the Joey plantar heel plane, we needed to supply or design a heel cup with it simply because it was for plantar heel pain. So we wanted to squeeze the fat pad, push it plantally, have all the features that we would normally recommend in a custom-made device for somebody with plantar heel pain. So this is a 2-degree rear foot corrective device, so not so much rear foot correction. We dropped a little bit, so we did not want to put too much pressure through the mid-calf tubercle, and to offload it even further, we put a sweet spot into it. It has a plantar fascial accommodation, it has a first tray accommodation, and it has a plantar fifth tray grind in it as well. So to what you want to, with all the theory that we always talk about with plantar heel pain, we want to shorten the distance between the origin and insertion of the plantar fascia. So we want to allow the first tray to plantar flex thus first tray accommodation, allowing the first tray to plantar flex, but then we've got some lateral wedging through plantar fifth ray grind, and then offloading the medial slip of the plantar fascia so it doesn't get stretched over the orthotic, and again, creating tension onto the origin where it inserts into the calcaneus. So that's our Joey PHP. The other heel cup orthotic that we designed, it's probably was one of our latest ones, was a Joey Junior. Now, a Joey Junior was designed predominantly for little kids, and initially the idea was for us to for it to be used in kids before we would put them into a Joey original or a Joey inverted. So it was pretty much a UCBL type device. So it had a really high long lateral heel cup, as well as a medial wrap and a high medial heel cup, 0 degree of rear foot correction, and it functioned like a UCBL. Now that length device is 160, so it's on the smaller side, still not a child's device, but a smaller size adult. But the lateral heel cup height in this case is 27 millimeters, so it's quite a deep heel cup for its design. As I mentioned, initially was designed to go into kids up to preschool age kids up to age 5 or 6. But what we're finding now is that podiatrists are just ordering all types of sizes, so you can request any size that you want with any of our orthotics. So that's a Joey Junior. The name is misleading, but it should probably be called something more like a UCBL type or something. But a Joey Junior is that type of a device. Another device that's actually fairly popular, and there aren't too many on the market as a prefab device, is a Joey Court. Now, the Joey Court, or Joey Court hook, as we call it here at Footwork, is literally a hook orthotic. So it's a Joey support shape and design that's been modified for a court hook. Again, it's a great option if someone wants a secondary orthotic to go into dress shoes, and for the same reason why you would do a custom-made hook orthotic, you do the same one. With this device, you get a bit more flex through the neck here, just around the anterior edge of the calcaneus, so you can generate some more heel pitch and use the device in higher heeled shoes. So there's a Joey Court hook. So all in all, we've got 9 different designs. So again, Joey Court, we've covered Joey Inverted, Joey Junior, Original. Now the last one that I didn't cover is a Joey Original Plus. So jumping around a little bit, my apologies. But so the Joey Original, I'll go over it again. Joey Original was a 13-degree wedge, rear foot correction, moderate device, first tray accommodation, cuboid notch. And now we've had some podiatrists who wanted the support of a Joey Original, but with a medial flare on it. And one of those podiatrists was actually Joanne Michalipsis. So shout out to Joanne because she was responsible for it. So with a Joey Original Plus is the same as a Joey Original. However, it has a medial flare inbuilt into it. So just widening around the talonnavicular joint to catch that medial overhang. The same features as a Joey Original, 13 degrees rear foot wedge, first tray accommodation, cuboid notch, but it does have the added option of a medial flare, just like our Joey Inverted. And the difference between this and the Joey Inverted is that this is slightly more archier, a little bit less rear foot control, whereas a Joey Inverted would look the same shape. However, you'd get a lot more rear foot correction. So instead of 13, you'd get up to 20 degrees and the arch would be lower relative to the rear foot. If you look at the arch height of a Joey Original or a Joey Original Plus and a Joey Inverted, the highest point of the device is pretty much the same for the same size orthotic. However, the rear foot component on a Joey Inverted is much higher, thus giving it much less pressure, more distally away from the cystentectomy taillight. So that's pretty much all our range of our devices. Now, how do you order our Joey devices? So to order our Joey devices, easiest way to do it right now is via our portal. So I'll share our portal again, our screen again. So on our portal, there's a Joey orthotic section. And just like the custom-made devices, you select fill out the patient's name, first name, surname, age, just like you would for your medical records, your clinic where you're at. So you would select which kind of joey that you would like. But then you select what length you would like it. And we're going to cover how you choose the length, how you work it out in a second. So we no longer have to supply us with the tracing. All we want is the length of the device. Now, joeys are pre-manufactured to the average size foot, okay? So if you've got a particularly narrow foot or a particularly wide foot, at this stage, we don't have the ability to widen them or make them narrower. However, that option is coming, so it's something that we will release in the near future. Initially, you just supply us with with the length of the device, and again, I'll show you how to do that in a second. And the joeys currently come in 5mm increments. So as you can see, the smallest one we have is 70mm, which is the smallest one we've ever produced, and we can go up to 240mm length device. Now, this is what we're talking about here: is the actual length of the orthotic shell itself, not the full total length, including the cover. And you can select different lengths for left and right. So you can have a 125 on the right and a let's say a 120 on the left, by all means. And you can actually mix and match if the patient has got different mechanics. You can mix and match different designs as well. So you can do that all the time. And I would say probably about 20% of our orders and joeys are different left to right, both from a length and a design point of view. As far as shell materials, currently our joeys are only available in nylon PA11, just like our custom made. They're available from 1.5 all the way through 5mm. Majority of the joeys would be around that 2.5 to 3.5mm, and that would probably be about 90% of the devices. Now, please note, just because we have a 1.5mm there, doesn't mean you can ask for that, or you should ask for that for an adult's foot. Because we can produce it doesn't mean it's going to be functional. A 1.5mm, doesn't matter what you make it from, it is going to be a very flexible device. In this case, a 1.5mm was designed to do a Joey Junior, which is the UCBL type device, of about 75, 80, 85mm for a little child's foot. And in that case, it does give you the integrity in the device, the strength in the device, in order to be able to offer the support that you needed. At 1.5mm, it was still a great functional orthotic. You didn't have to go for 3mm, because in a device that small and with those high heel cups, it will be equivalent to a 6mm polypropylene device, which is something you probably didn't want for kids. So again, choose wisely and stick around to what you know. But you can, just like the designs, you can order different thickness shells for both left and right. EVA joeys are coming. Again, it's something that we've had to put on hold for now. We will be releasing EVA joeys, but it probably won't be until this whole COVID-19 scenario has been fixed and rectified. Now, with modifications, so there are two main modifications that are available on joeys. So one is the gate plate. And because joeys were initially designed for kids, a gate plate is something that's offered pretty much on all our designs. But please remember what we talked about gate plates in our custom-made devices. With a gate plate device, you do not want the device to be overcorrective. Probably, even though we do offer it because people are requested and they get pretty pedantic, a gate plate on a joey inverted or a joey original, which is a quite an aggressive device. It's something that probably we wouldn't recommend. And if you're going to do that, go more for a joey support with no stabilizer. A gate plate is designed. You've got to make sure that the child can actually still pronate. A heel stabilizer is an option. However, with all our refoot corrective devices, a heel stabilizer comes standard. So joey inverted, joey original, and original plus, the heel stabilizer is standard. And with all the others, you can choose or to have or not to have. Unlike with our custom-made devices, the heel stabilizer is only available as a full option at this stage, and it's only available in the printed method. There is no option for EVA stabilizers with our joeys. It is a pre-manufactured device. If you want all those other options, unfortunately, you'll have to go for a more custom-made device. And probably the same thing goes for when we've got a foot that's particularly wide or particularly really skinny narrow, where the joey may not be the best option because of the fit at this stage. A Joey custom fit is coming, and again, it's something that we'll release down the track when the time comes and we are able to. But at this stage, a Joey custom made, custom sized is not available as yet. When it goes to covers, covers are again the same, very much the same as a custom made. So you have no cover option, standard, standard plus, web, and full. And once you select it, just tick the appropriate boxes and the appropriate layers and go from there. If you want any help with how to choose covers and what you need to select, there's a help video function in there as well. Similar with pads, if you want padding, similar as our custom made ones, all the different pads are available. And there's even a med dome size chart where you can select the type of med dome you want. And if you're more particular with padding and anything else that you want to comment on, there's a comment section as well, and more to describe the type of padding you have and so forth. And then, of course, selecting your delivery address as well as your return dates. So that's pretty much for Joey ordering. But one thing I wanted to mention to you is, how do you actually size the Joeys? So this is an example of our prescription form, but it shows you really well on how you should actually size up a Joey and where do we measure it to at footwork. So easiest way to do it for you right now is to trace the patient's foot and then measure from the back of the heel to halfway down the orthotic, and that's usually around between the second and third med heads, and that will be the longest part of the shell itself. And that's where we will go to. Again, you need to bring it currently with to the nearest 5 millimeters. So in this case, was one of the old ones, 168, when we're hand grinding and so forth. So in here, you could bring it down to 165 or 170. What we found is that with 5 millimeter increments, it's the most options that you'll get with any prefab devices. Most prefab devices will be at least 10 mil in increments. We offer it in 5, and we find it to be more than enough. So we got any other questions, Basil?
Yeah, so Stephanie is asking, are there descriptions for what conditions are best suited to each device?
Look, Stephanie, great, thanks for that. We don't usually advise prescribing for conditions. I'm not a believer in pathology-specific prescriptions, apart from probably plantar heel pain. The way that we tend to recommend the podiatrist designs is around the pathomechanics. So look at the mechanics of the foot and where you need to apply force or pressure to the foot to be able to create the change that you want in order to offload the tissues and alleviate any pain that you might have or solve any problem that you might have. So, the way that I look at it, I don't look at someone's got knee pain or someone's got a first MCPJ pain, they need this type of device. What I would tend to look at is the way we prescribe and the way we recommend people prescribe is people look at the pathomechanics, and it's the pathomechanics that cause the pathology and the pain. So address the pathomechanics, look how the foot is functioning, look at the calc inclination angle is a really big thing that I'm really big on, and the type of pressure you need on the foot to be able to control that or support it and to be able to offload it. And it's probably one of those things where we need to set up with multiple cameras and do a proper video analysis. And it's something that we are looking at the moment, where we are able to have 2 or 3 people in the video with 2 or 3 cameras rather than just a Zoom webinar. It may still be on a Zoom platform, but it's something that we are working on at the moment to be able to show you what to look at with different gait analyses and different types of mechanics, how to prescribe it, and when to use the different tools that we have at your disposal.
Another question asking, is return of the Joey quicker than custom?
At this stage, no. It's something, as a business plan, we wanted to pre-manufacture the Joeys, have the shells pre-made, but with all the options that we have, like literally there's over 1,000 different options. So for now, the Joeys have the same return date. as a custom made, because it literally takes us just as long to do with the way that we manufacture at the moment.
Great.
That's it.
Yep, that's all.
So look, everyone, we'll finish up on that. Thanks everyone, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.